Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to EndNote for Mac tutorial. Today, we'll go over how to set up an EndNote library, how to download citations from different health sciences databases, and how to use EndNote within Microsoft Word. Firstly, you can download EndNote on the university's software downloads page. It requires your Link Blue credentials, but once you're inside the site, you'll see EndNote listed on the homepage as a possible download. Choose See Downloads and select X9 for Mac, as that is the latest version of EndNote, which we will be using today. Once that's downloaded, it's time to set up your preferences. To set up the preferences, we need the PDF instructions found on the Medical Center Library page. Let's begin on the MCL homepage. The instructions we're looking for can be found on the Research and Publishing in the Health Sciences LibGuide, found underneath the Guides section. Select the name of the guide and we will go to its homepage. Once we're here, we're going to choose the EndNote tab and then open the EndNote Help folder. As you might have noticed, there are 3 PDFs which can help with different aspects of using EndNote. Download and set up EndNote, exporting and importing references, and Microsoft Word and Cite while you write. I will be going over importing in Microsoft Word later, but now we need to open the Download and Set Up PDF. Next, we need to open EndNote. You'll notice that a library did not pop up. We will look at that in a second, but first go up to the top bar and underneath the EndNote X9 tab, open the Preferences. There is a list of tabs on the left-hand side, but first we're going to go to URLs and links and fill in the ISI base URL with the URL provided in the PDF, and then hit Save. On that same list of tabs on the left, we're going to go to Find Full Text and copy the Open URL Path URL into the box from the PDF, as well as the Authenticate box with the PDF, and hit Save. Doing this will allow EndNote to pull references that UK has access to using your specific Link Blue credentials. Next, we're going to discuss creating an EndNote library. We already have EndNote opened from the desktop, and as you might have noticed, there's no library pulled up and no citations. You can only have one library open at a time within an EndNote tab. So, to create a new EndNote library, select the File tab and then select New. Save the file to your local hard drive. You do not want to save it to a cloud, as it will possibly corrupt the file and you'll lose all of your research data. Preferably, it is good to save the EndNote library in a Documents style folder. Alright, so now you can see that there is an interface pulled up, and once again, we still have no citations. Before we import any citations, let's learn how to create groups in EndNote. We're going to create 4 groups based on the 4 databases that we're covering today. So right-click under Groups and select the Create Group button. It will ask you to name the group, so we're going to name this one PubMed. We're going to repeat this action 3 more times, naming our different databases CINAHL, Web of Science, and Google Scholar. Now that we have these groups, we can go back to the Medical Center Library page and begin learning how to import references. Now that we're back on the Medical Center Library page, we're going to scroll down and select the PubMed icon. Once we're inside PubMed, we're going to enter the search and type in a term such as diabetes or any other that you would like to use. Once we've pulled up our citations, there are a couple ways of importing, the first being mass importing. To mass import, check the boxes on the left-hand side for the articles you want, and then scroll up to the top and choose the Send To option. Select Citation Manager. You can choose either Selection, All Results, or All Results on this page. Since we've checked the boxes individually of the articles that we want, we'll stick with the Selection option. Finally, select Create File and then open the download into EndNote by going up to the top under the arrow and double-clicking the citation. Next, we're going to learn single citation importing. Going back to PubMed, select the article that you want. Go up to the top and choose Send To and then Citation Manager. Create the file by going back up to the Downloads folder and double-clicking it, and it will open into EndNote. Finally, once you've gathered all of your PubMed citations, we're going to move them into the PubMed group we created earlier. Next, we're going to go back to the Medical Center Library homepage to learn how to use CINAHL. Now that we're back on the Medical Center Library homepage, we are going to scroll back down to where we selected the PubMed icon and instead choose the CINAHL icon. Once the database is loaded, we can go up to the search bar and type diabetes, or if you're following along, you can choose any other term that you would like. Much like PubMed, there are multiple ways to import citations into EndNote. The first way being adding multiple articles to the folder. The folder icon is on the right-hand side of the title. If you select the folder icon, it will go from blue with a plus to a yellow folder. We can do that with multiple citations. Once that's done, scroll back up to the top, and on the blue heading bar, you'll see the folder icon. We're going to select it, and then you can see the articles that you added earlier all listed on this page. To export it into EndNote, you can select Deselect All button. On the right-hand side, there are 4 tabs. We're going to choose the Export tab. All right, there are a ton of options, but the first one that is listed is the Direct Export in RIS format. That is the option that you want to remain selected. On the left-hand side, you can also remove the articles that you import from the folder after saving, but we're not going to do that today. Okay, we're going to hit Save. As you can see, it went up to the Downloads folder again. We're going to open the Downloads folder and double-click on the EndNote file. And once again, it should be loaded into EndNote. The next way to import citations would be to import a single citation. So let's scroll down and find an article and select it. To import a single citation, under the Tools bar on the right-hand side, we're going to go back and select Export again. As you can see, the same options are listed and the Direct Export in RIS format is still selected. So we're going to keep that and then hit Save. As you can see, it went back to the Download folder. We're going to choose that one and double-click it, and it will open into EndNote. Finally, we're going to move all of our references over to the CINAHL group. We're going to select all of them and then just drag and drop. And that is how you export from CINAHL. Once we've imported from CINAHL, we're going to go back to the Medical Center Library page and go to the Web of Science database. Scrolling down, We are going to look on the left-hand side now under Selected Databases and choose Web of Science Core Collection. As you can see, there's another search bar. I am going to type in diabetes again and search, but of course you can type in whatever you want if you're following along. I'm going to run the search, and once again, there are multiple ways to import a citation in this database. First, we're going to, on the left-hand side, check mark the boxes of the databases that we want to export. Once all of those are checked, you're going to go back up to the top and choose the Export button. There are a couple different options here, but since we're using EndNote Desktop, we want to choose EndNote Desktop. Another page has popped up which says Export Records to EndNote Desktop. There are a few options we have currently selected. You have selected 3 results for export. You can also choose all records on the page or records from 1 to 500 in case your search yielded many results. The next important thing under record content is to choose full record so that it exports as much information as possible. And then we're going to choose export. Okay, so once again, we're going to go back up to the Downloads button and choose the Web of Science citations and double click. We're going to choose our library and then it's going to open into EndNote. That's how you do mass importing. If you wanted to do single citation importing, choose any article, go into it, and then at the top you can see Export to EndNote Desktop. We're going to choose that, make sure it still says full record, and then hit export once more. Now that that's downloaded, we can go back up and double click the record and it too should join the others in EndNote. That's how you do mass importing and single importing in Web of Science. We're going to add these to the database, to the group by clicking on them and then dragging and dropping them over to the Web of Science group. Finally, we're going to look at Google Scholar. Instead of going back to the Medical Center library page, we're just going to Google Scholar. You'll see the interface also has a search bar, so we're just going to stick to our diabetes search. Of course, once again, you can search whatever you would like, but we're going to stick to diabetes. So it looks a little bit different from our other databases, but one of the ways to import to EndNote would be going down and selecting this quotation button. There's a bunch of different citation styles listed here, but we aren't going to use those. We're going to go down and select the EndNote button. Okay, now that we've selected the EndNote button, we'll go back up to the downloads arrow and double click on our citation. It'll load into the database like every other citation we've downloaded before. However, there's no way to mass import in Google Scholar. You have to import every single citation individually. So we'll just stick with this one and let's drag and drop it over into the group, and that is how you import from Google Scholar. Now that all of our citations have been added to their groups in EndNote, it's time to go over some basic features. Firstly, on the right-hand side, there are a bunch of tabs that say rating, author, year, title. This is referred to as the reference view. You can actually change the information in here, so if you wanted to add an author, I'll just add my name really quickly to one of these citations. You can add it, but to save, you have to click out. So it will say save changes to the record. You click save, and that way you have a completely edited reference. Underneath, there's the preview. So right now it says APA 6, but you can change it to any style listed. There are a few already loaded in here, but you can select another style, and it will take you to this extremely long list of all of the different citation styles. Some are based off of journals, some are very widely accepted, such as APA and the different versions of APA. So we will actually just stick to the citations found already here. So we'll go to APA 6, and you can see that the citation has updated and now looks appropriate for APA 6 citation. Another important feature is how to manually add citations. So after we've looked at the reference and preview, we're going to go up to the top toolbar and under References, select New Reference. It's going to fill in those same tabs that we saw in the reference bar. So if you have a citation that for some reason you can't load in or something that you already have the PDF for, you can go ahead and just start filling out this information, and then you can save it. So there we go. All right, so to save, you're going to go up to the red X. It's going to say Save Changes to the Record again, and you'll hit Save. And then you'll notice that your reference has populated with your other references in the All References tab. It is important to note before continuing that on the left-hand side of EndNote under the My Library title, there are a few different tab options for citations. The first one being All References, which holds all references imported from all databases. The next is Imported References, which are references that have been most recently imported. As you can see here, the two are the National Diabetes data we pulled from Google Scholar and the citation that I just created earlier. Next, you have Unfiled, which is every citation in EndNote that isn't in a group. The only unfiled option right now is the citation that I just created and have not filed away. Finally, you have Trash, which is where all of the deleted references go. It's important to note that references do not just delete from the trash. You have to click on all of them and then select Delete Trash References to get rid of them permanently. That is the sidebar. Another crucial feature of EndNote is the PDF functions. You can load PDFs into EndNote in two separate ways. The easiest and first way being by right-clicking on a citation, scrolling down, and underneath the Find Full Text, you want to go and hit Find Full Text. And it will load. You'll see under on the sidebar, the Find Full Text tab will say Searching, and then eventually it'll either find the full text, find the easy proxy URL, or it will say PDF not found. Before, though, we continue on, when you look back under the Find Full Text feature, it says Find Full Text, but it also says Authenticate. If you have not authenticated, you will need to do that before it will let you find the full text. You just click the Authenticate button and a browser will pop up and it will ask for your LinkBlue credentials. So your LinkBlue ID and your password. You'll sign in, and then a page with all of your databases that you can access will load, and you will just click Done, and then it should work. So that's when you can go back up and hit Find Full Text. The second way to find full text is to manually load your PDFs in, which means you will have to go into the database, find a citation, download that PDF, and then upload it onto EndNote. I did that very quickly, so we'll go in. I found this citation that is already in EndNote. I went and selected the View Now UK button, and then it loaded and it brought us to the UK Libraries catalog page. Under this Sign In for More options, you're going to click the full text available at link that says Elsevier Clinical Key Journals. It will take you to another page with the citation. On the top right-hand bar, you can see this PDF icon. We're going to click Download PDF. I've already done this and saved it, so we're going to go back to EndNote. And let's find the citation. You want it to be the same one. So we're going to click on the citation. and we're going to right click, and then File Attachments, you're going to hit Attach File. I saved the file on my document, so it brought me to Documents. You click Open, and here it is. It loads on the right. With it loaded on the right, you're going to click out and hit the Save button again. That will officially attach the PDF. Now, to edit the PDF, over here on the right, there's a box with an arrow. It says Open PDF, and it will make the PDF bigger, and here it is. It has all of the pages, and you can do a few editing things. So if you go up and click the box with the pen in it, it says Annotation Toolbar, so you can highlight things using this highlighting function, and it will actually save. So if you click the red X, it will say Save Changes to the PDF. You will hit Save. And then over here, you can actually see your highlights in real time. That is how you edit and attach PDFs. The last basic feature of EndNote is Cite While You Write, which is used in Microsoft Word. If you do not have Microsoft Word downloaded on your Mac, you will have to get that before you can start using this feature, because it does not work on the Mac software pages. To get to Cite While You Write, you'll look at the top bar again, and where there is the W inside the page, it says Return to Word Processor or Word Processor, and you'll click that and it will open the Word document that you already have pulled up. So what should happen is on the top bar of the Word document, there should be an EndNote X9 button. You may have to drag your word processor out a little bit, but if it's working properly, it should be there. If not, please email the reference email on the MCL homepage, and we can help you try to get that fixed. Now, going to EndNote X9, you'll see there are a bunch of different options. The important one is the Insert Citation button. So we'll just hit that. And as you can see, it loads a bunch of citations. We'll just click one and add it. At the bottom, there's the blue Insert button. We're going to click the arrow because it gives you a bunch of options. So you can just insert it regularly, insert and display as author year. You can insert and exclude author or year, or insert in bibliography only, which means that there will not be the in-text citation. We're going to do a regular insert, and it's going to load. It doesn't always do it quickly, but when it does, be there. Okay, so here it is. As you can see, it's an interesting style. You can change that easily by going up to the style icon and selecting something such as APA 6, which is what I normally use. And there you have it. The reference has changed. Your in-text citation is now a little bit different, and the references portion is also a little bit different, especially with the font. So there's that. You can edit and manage citations as well, which is right next to the Insert Citation button. It will have things such as format, prefix, suffix, pages. It even has the references. So you can edit from there, but if you try to go and just delete something from the reference, you can delete it, but if you click out or do anything and come back, it will repopulate, so you cannot just edit a reference from Microsoft Word. To do that, the best way would be to go back to EndNote, go into the citation you're trying to edit, and do it from the reference view instead of trying to do it inside the Microsoft Word document itself. Next, we're going to go over to the top of the Word document and look back at that toolbar. If you go and you edit a reference inside of EndNote, you're going to have to update the citations and bibliography within the Word document, which is right under this Style button. So you hit the update, and it will load for a little bit, and it will fix everything. So that is how you edit a citation within EndNote. If you have any additional questions about EndNote, such as how to share a library, how to export a library using XML, and others, please direct them to miclib@uky.edu. This email can be found on the Medical Center Library homepage in the About section. We would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for watching the Introduction to EndNote for Mac. That concludes the basic EndNote tutorial.